But that was only because of Trump.
Yeah,
and people were saying about, is Trump a good thing or a bad thing?
The Air India thing. Have you heard over the weekend what they actually think that caused that now?
And I got the ball, and Joe come paddling towards me, and I was just about to throw the ball, and didn't realise he literally stood up and just jumped at me and rubber tackled me straight out the boat, and I was like...
The boats and all these people coming in, and you know, Rachel Reeves talking about tax rises again potentially affecting businesses, and how, you know, there's so much at the moment. For me, I just think that whole side of things is just a complete mess at the moment. Absolute mess.
Congratulations, Tom.
Thank you. It was about as warm on our day as it is in this room at the moment, to be honest.
It's really warm in here. You got married finally.
I know. So this has been, 5-6 years in the making, fourth attempt.
Took you that long to persuade her?
Yeah. No, it took me 16 years to persuade her. But no, we were meant to get married in COVID, and then obviously COVID came around. And then my missus actually won our wedding day on Facebook. She won it in a competition.
I won half of mine.
And then COVID came round, and so she entered a competition on Facebook, and won our wedding, won our venue, won everything, literally won the whole day. And then the second round of COVID came round and sort of killed it.
Did you get to roll that? Is that what?
No, it was the problem was because COVID came round and the competition couldn't keep rolling on, because obviously they pay for your winnings by more competitions. Well, because they couldn't keep rolling the competition on, they couldn't. So we couldn't get married anyway. So no, we finally got married, and to be fair, it was a blessing in disguise, because we went from we were meant to get married at one of these like Best Western hotel things, which was really nice. Don't get me wrong, it was really nice. It was at Kenwood Hall in Sheffield, like really nice grounds. But then this time we got married in a church. So Emily's dad was ecstatic because he got to walk Emily down the aisle in a church, and obviously you walk in, you get the smell, and
I mean, it was probably the first time you've been in one, isn't it?
Second, after having my bands read. Second.
What's it like in there? I mean,
it was
you can't.
No,
I didn't burst into flames walking through the door, so I can't have been that bad up until now. But no, obviously, went for the bands read, which was quite interesting, because we've been told we've got a few friends who've got married in a church before, and they're like, what they'll do is they'll do the whole ceremony, and then they'll read your bands at the end, so you can't sort of leave. We turned up. It was the first thing that came out of the Reverend's mouth was our bands. And I was like, right, I can go. No, and then she's like, no. So we had to stay for the whole thing. But we took the kids with us, and Freddie, my middle one, he loved it. He was up. He was singing everything. He wanted to go back, and he absolutely loved it. So no, when it came to the wedding day, it was interesting, because obviously you're stood at the front, and then you're having to sing all the songs, and
and did you do the turn around?
Yes, and then we had the organist playing, so we had all that, and it was interesting. It was really good. It was really good. It was really great.
It's almost like, even if you're not religious to a degree, it almost seems like the right way to do it.
This is what it was.
I don't know whether that's a
you're right.
A bad thing, or
this was what it was. So, Emily's dad has got a Jag F-Type SMR. It's very, very loud, and the whole point of the day was.
So when you've got you and that next to each other,
it's about the same thing.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
But it was great, because when he turned up with Emily in the car, he revved it so everybody knew you were here.
Aww.
So it sort of got rid of a bit of the nerves on when are they coming, when are they here?
Is she turning up?
Is she coming?
Yeah.
And then obviously we got all the kids come walking down and stuff, which was really nice.
It's nice to have your child at your wedding or
and
children.
I'm still to this day, I'm saying it was sweat dripping down my face, not tears.
Yeah.
It was 100% sweat.
You had some fabulous weather. In fact, when you got married,
it was pouring down with rain the day before, and then when I got married, it was just blissful sunshine. Remember, we had golden hour as well. We were all dancing outside, weren't we?
Yeah. Well, that was in September. I mean, the place you had it was a bit risky, because if it had have rained, I can't remember whether it would have been cover or what have you.
Well, you could have done them outside, inside, but the fact that it didn't was all outside. But it was Tunnels Beaches in Ilfracombe. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But we said the same. If it had been, the day wouldn't have been as good if it had been raining, because we had the weather. I don't mean the church. The church would have been, that would have been whatever, any weather. But when we went down to the venue, it was that hot. You were constantly outside. And then we had an adult-sized bouncy castle obviously for the kids.
Of course you did.
It was for the kids.
So what was the best man's gags? They good?
So no, he was quite. It was really
it a pretty
funny.
tame
So yeah, Chris. I've known Chris since as long as I can remember. We've been friends since. God, we went to school. We've been friends for years, and it was more like a love speech than anything else. He did give me a few. There was a few things I can't really say. He did in front of family and friends who I would wish to still not have known them stories, but you know. That's what your best man speech is all about.
So I would always get you'd get asked to be best man and you'd go, oh my God, this is, the obligation now is to try and be really funny. But I've done it where you try and tell stories about someone and it's never quite as good as if you do short one-line gags. Yeah. Like things like, there was one we always used to do. In our group, in our circle of friends, we always used to have these ones we always say, if you get the best man's role, you have to do this joke. And one was like this glue sniffer joke. And the idea was you went through all the cards at the end of the sort of your speech and you sort of said, I've got one card left from David and he wants to thank you for helping him through, his habits. He feels like he's recovered now. You know, he's got over cocaine and all this sort of stuff. And his glue sniffing one was the most difficult one to get over, but he's through that. He just wants to wish you a really good day. And then you take the card and you go to put it down. And you start throwing it down like stuck to your fingers. But it's just stupid things like that.
Yeah.
I always found were like the best gags that go down well as a best man. So.
It's quite a role. It's quite a role.
Really
you don't
important,
realise you need to be the comedian in the room.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's not easy.
Yeah.
Do you get the thing as well? I've been best man a couple of times now, and for one of them was really difficult because obviously you've got stories. Which he doesn't want people to know, but you want to tell him. Yeah. So you sort of try and tell him a bit cryptic. Yeah. And he's like, shit, stop. Yeah. But everybody but then you get all the lads and all the lads are absolutely laughing their heads off because they know exactly where you're going.
I just think I think if you do it a few times, you get better every time because you realise that if you're standing there just narrating stuff that people don't get, it falls on deaf ears. But then if you suddenly do short quips, you know, there's always one who said, I don't mind it when people look at their watches when I'm speaking, as long as it's when they start shaking them to check they're still working. That I've got a problem with it. And it kind of gets everybody into that.
You've got to be the person in the room that everyone loves as well, because you've got to warm them up. It's the comedian.
Yeah, that's tough.
But one last thing, I had to get Emily's dad to do a speech because and obviously that's where I worked before here. So that was quite an emotional speech on his part. I was quite, because he's known me. The thing is, you have, and not to take away from anyone, but like the father of the bride does a speech, and obviously they've known you personally, but then because he'd known me professionally as well, he's been my boss.
Right, okay, let's talk a little bit industry now. On a personal level, is there anywhere I haven't been?
Yeah, been busy since the last time we did this, actually.
Yeah,
in fact, there's been a delay, isn't there? We would normally try and do this every month, but it's been a challenge to get everybody in the right place over the course of the last couple of months.
It's been crazy. So from my weeks, we had your party, which was...
party?
Well, it was your party.
My party?
It was your party.
You mean the party where we got put on a lake in the pouring rain, and then I could just sense when he was talking about, I thought, I'm not going in that water. I thought there's no way I'm going in that water. So we were on kayaks for a bit.
It's freezing cold.
Colin had booked our company day out, end of May, I think it was, semi in conjunction with my birthday, which it wasn't really, but it kind of was. And then we did abseiling, didn't we, which was great. And then,
talk about that. Who won that day? I've just got to ask, who won
Tom
the
did
abseiling?
beat me down the wall. But then we
Joe
did
was petrified.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
Oh my God, I've got a video of him. It's
fair play to him though. Fair play, he did it in the end.
He did it. Go on, sorry, Paul.
And then the kayaks, when he said we're going on the kayaks, and bearing in mind we've had some glorious weather recently, but that day it absolutely tanked it down. And when we were going towards those kayaks, I just thought, and I'm sure you both did, I thought, I'm not going in that water. I'll get in the boat thing, but whatever happens,
wasn't it?
Whatever happens, I didn't have a change of clothes. Well, I did have a change of clothes, but not a towel or underwear or all those kind of things that you would have needed if you'd have gone in the water. And I thought, I'm just going to sit in this kayak. I'm going to do a lap,
Gonna
and then
enjoy
I'm
himself.
going to get out. And then, of course, we get in this thing, don't we? And we're going up the lake, and I could just see in the instructors, like, who's going to be the first person in the water? And I'm like, it isn't going to be. I actually made a point to him, said, well, I'm not going in the water today. I'm not. I'm quite happy to sit here and just cruise up this river. I'm not going in the water. And yet he asks everyone, and then it's like,
You know
it's
who?
like a
It was
vendetta.
actually Elliot that pulled you in eventually.
Yeah, it was.
And you didn't believe it.
Me and Lyndsey were actually, me and
That's
Lyndsey were
because
miles away.
it was
because I was gutted it wasn't me. I'm not going to lie, but we were miles away because
He couldn't get you under the water. You were fighting him off, and then it was Elliot. I think.
Well, when he got
Elliot pulled the car finally to get you over.
When he got me. When he tried to pull me under, I thought, well, if he's something's going to happen. I may as well just seek revenge immediately and get him under. So I just jumped on him. Yeah, and then we all went under, and my God.
But we all got under eventually because I got rugby tackled by Joe.
It was fun.
We were playing that game, weren't we, with the ball? We were playing football, and I got the ball, and Joe come paddling towards me, and I was just about to throw the ball, and didn't realise he literally stood up and just jumped at me and rugby tackled me straight out the boat, and I was like, because I was the same. I was trying to stay. Let's admit it. We were not dry. We were wet because the kite's wet. Yeah. But I was trying to keep myself slightly drier than I didn't want to be submerged.
No, exactly.
Yeah, no.
And then the next thing is I'm off my boat. I'm straight in, and then we ended up jumping off the.
I jumped off, and then we went off the Yeti, didn't we?
Yeti, sorry, yeah. We ended up jumping off that in the end.
You mean the jetty or the Yeti?
I always get it wrong.
But I just
the Yeti. Oh,
the Yeti.
The big cold thing. Yeah.
But I thought to myself, oh my God, I didn't want to go, and we did. But yeah, that was even a month ago, so we haven't even had the chance to talk about.
And then I went to Italy. I then went to Germany. Honestly, this couple, they are Germans, but they went to Germany with nothing. I won't go into the back history there, but we went out for a meal one night with them, and honestly, Chris and I were just couldn't believe that meeting this couple, what they've been through. They started out the business. They literally had nothing. They started the business in the garage with a spinner, which they've still got now on their shop floor. And now they are doing so well, but it comes down to, and I can tell you a little bit more on them, but he pre-plans and has got plans of his facility in 10 years' time. Who does that? I've only ever seen that done once in Czech Republic when we went to TGS. They have got a physical blueprint of how their facility will look in a decade's time. I have not seen that done before.
The only way you can possibly do that and meet that as a target is if you have stability and commitments from your customers that there's an investment program that everybody buys into. So perhaps that's
maybe that is. But just, I really want to say that as a couple, they started out in the garage with that one machine. They had two very, very young children. That could not have been easy. Living in a household, just think of the life, machines running, dad's going downstairs, two children, and it was running the business. Then they grew out from that. And now, like fast forward on their journey, they've got 18 spinner machines, their facility, they live there. That's the couple that they literally live in the facility. So we drove up, Chris and I.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I tell you what.
Work-life balance is
but you
it's
say...
work.
And I think it has been for them. They will admit that. But they have put the hours in. But they're reaping the rewards now, and is that the perfect way to do it? Work hard first, reap the rewards after? It's open there. But we pulled up to this facility, and it literally, the design of the building looks like a ship, and it's very much white, and then the grey windows, so quite a contemporary looking house. And I said to Chris, there was some curtains at the top, and I went, that looks like a house. And we went there, and they told us that they live there at the front of the building. And the whole building was designed like a ship. So as you went upstairs, it's all kind of cordoned off. You'd never go, you don't see that it's a house. As you go upstairs, they've got this amazing view, like a ship. It's all glass and a big bit like a business meeting room, should we say. All glass, and you see the countryside. And I'm like, you couldn't get a nicer house, with the view of it. And then sometimes he'll pop downstairs in the middle of the night to do changeovers and stuff because his mind is whirring. He is probably one of, or if not the most passionate engineers I've ever met. Every morning for 1 hour, he'll go around all of his employees, check on them, to see if they're okay. Because he said this isn't just a hobby, this is a lifestyle. You've got to have a clear mind when you're machining. It's not an easy job. So he values them having a clear mind and respect. And if they're off, he's like, no, you can't be here. You need to be present and happy. So I want to be part of your whole lifestyle. I've never met anyone so passionate. So he's looking at his employees in a holistic way and not just, you get paid this, you get that, that's it. So even the way he thinks is so different to anyone I've ever met before.
I wonder how that works from a tax perspective, living in the same place you're working. You know, like, it's just curious.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, because I mean, costs relating to what you do. Is this thing a business? I just first thing jumped into my mind.
Into your mind. Well,
it is. Moving
We
downstairs.
couldn't have you moving downstairs. No chance.
Oh no! Every time we're near for a tech corner, Paul comes up just brushing his teeth.
Having a shower.
Yeah. So the shower. No. 1 minute, guys. We'll start in a minute. Paul's just having a shower.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of dedication.
Oh, honestly, just so wonderful. But he said he's a perfectionist. But as a couple, we went out with them for a couple of meals, and I cannot. You know, when you just meet someone and you're just fascinated by the way they are and you're in awe of what they've been through and where they are. You know, it's about not just seeing machining and everything like that, but it's seeing them, their background, what they've been through, real stories, really special trip. But that was for Spinner. And I'll go back to that. 18 machines, his first ever machine with Spinner. And he is growing. He will buy Spinner. I'm not saying he will only ever buy Spinner, but his plans are to have 10 more Spinners in that facility.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I don't think you could do that over here. Coming back to what you said earlier, the problem is if he's mapped out for the next 10 years, you've got to have so much stability and you've got to have so much trust in your customers to be able to have that. But yet we've got companies over here who can't map out the next 6 months,
because they don't know.
Because the problem is the like you said, work's coming from here, there, and everywhere. But over there, they get partnerships and they're together with their customers. Over here, it's like a customer could turn around and go, "Oh, actually, this place that road's going to do it me £5 cheaper, so I'm going to go there now."
Is it not the same over there?
But it can't be, because if you can plan out the next 10 years and know everything that's going to happen, you've got to know, and you've got to have full trust that your business is going to keep going in the right direction. Where over here, people don't know whether the next bit of work is coming from left, right, up or down.
I think they do it safely, though. When we're talking to them, it's slow build. It's not going, "Oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that." It's that kind of pre-plan of that goal, knowing where we're at now. If we have that steady growth, we're going to have this in 6 months. If we have that steady growth, we're going. You know, it's not just planning. I'm going to magically have 10 new machines in 10 years. It's about knowing where we're at, calculating the risks, and then going forward with goals. But I don't run a machine shop. I don't understand it.
It can only be one of two things. It can be what we're saying. They have got reassurances. They've got solid customer relationships. Or they're just speculating what they're going to be doing in 10 years.
They're hoping for the best. And it's working.
To be fair, some people in business will always say, you need to have a plan for where you are in 5 years. You need to have a plan for where you are in 10 years. Yeah. In my mind, that's kind of important, but do you know what I mean? Roads, some days you take a left, some days you take a right.
Who would have expected COVID?
Why spend time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why spend time worrying too much about 10 years' time and think about how you're going to navigate the current, the current circumstance? I mean,
are we not all living in castles in 10 years' time at MTD?
Well,
MTD
there's
Towers?
one call.
I'm ready. I've already got my
cast.
butlers signed up.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, it depends on how the UK performs. I mean, currently, we've just gone into the second month of negative growth here, and if there's a third, that means we're technically in recession. But I mean, from our industry's perspective, we're actually from a manufacturing side, there's quite a lot of positive stories at the moment. Okay. But then on the flip side of that, there's obviously a lot going on, isn't there? With I mean, the boats and all these people coming in, and the Rachel Reeves talking about tax rises again potentially affecting businesses, and how there's so much at the moment, which is, I mean, since the last time we spoke, I mean, there's been everything that happened in Israel and Iran and stuff like that. Thank God that came to a close. But that's probably a little bit quicker than to where it is now. But
that was only because of Trump. And people were saying about, is Trump a good thing or a bad thing? But he turned around and went, you either stop it or we start. And they both went, all right. If they'd had somebody else in power who didn't do that, that could still be going on. It could be getting worse.
He certainly chucked a lot of weight behind it. And
he went in all guns blazing him, didn't he?
And but it's been a very interesting time in our economy. And if you look at the latest MTD magazine, which has just come out in July,
it's really interesting.
Some of the stories we're hearing about Rolls-Royce winning the contract for the new modular nuclear reactors. There's going to be 3 of those, going to create potentially 1,000 jobs. The defence sector. I mean, the Paris Airshow. That was obviously on, and of course, what happened with
India,
with the Air India thing. Have you heard over the weekend what they actually think that caused that now?
No.
So they've done that. They have to do a preliminary report within 30 days. Now you ask me to say it twice. That's when it becomes more difficult.
I'm sorry.
If I get it wrong the second time, I'm not going to give it a third. Preliminary.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
The reports, it has to be done within a 30-day period of an air disaster like this. I mean, absolutely tragic when you see the footage. My goodness me. But they reckon that the both the switches to the engines were turned off after about sort of, I think it was 20 seconds of being in the air or 15 seconds of being in the air. So all the fuel was cut off to both of the engines because, of course, where I'm going with this is Boeing. This all happened just before the air show or around the time of the air show. So Boeing's CEO didn't go to the Paris Air Show.
No, he didn't. I read that. Yeah.
Which was terrible for Boeing because obviously Airbus were able to go in and they've got lots of business and lots of orders, and there was still would have been this undercurrent as to what caused the crash. And now they're saying that the fuel was cut off to both the engines in this report, and it couldn't be restarted. But they've got the voice recordings of the cockpit of one of either the first officer or the captain saying, "Did you turn the fuel off to the engines?" And the other one saying, "No, I didn't." But you can't. The thing is with these switches, you can't just accidentally turn the fuel off to an engine. So it's a bit like, I mean, you have to pull it, twist it, and the only thing I could kind of probably liken it to is something like, like on a barbecue or on a cooker where you have to push in, turn it, pull it out.
Yeah, it's not just a leaning on it.
You can't just lean it on it and turn it off and on.
It can't be done accidentally.
No, it can't be done accidentally. Which then, so of course, from a Boeing perspective, they're kind of saying, well, it wasn't a mechanical failure and there was nothing wrong with the engine, but somebody literally turned the fuel off. So then it comes down to, was it deliberate? Was it an accident? But if it's an accident, how do you do? These guys had like 10,000 flying hours or two, but that had obviously a knock-on effect for Boeing at the air show. Yeah. Airbus would have kind of, it sounds awful, and I can't say benefited from it from a business perspective, would have been advantageous to them. But I think from a UK perspective, we had about 65 companies there, representing the UK, and I think with the predicted increase in orders up until 2029, I think it's about at the moment 1,600 or 1,800 units up to 3,000. So it's about a 40% increase in aircraft come 2029. And of course, from our industry, for the aerospace sector, that's really, 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 really positive.
Honestly, all I'm hearing, every single business I'm hearing and I go into is that, we're just doing our AS9 100.
Yeah.
AS 9001.
I thought it was 9100.
It's 9100 for the
aerospace and defence and everything. That's I'm hearing it so often now. Just kind of everyone trying to diversify and change industries and go where the work is. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's not an easy industry to work for. There's lots of demands, lots of certifications.
Understandably,
but what it does show is that from our country's perspective, that, and then the defence. I know there's a 200 million investment in Bolton going on and that's going to create 1,000 jobs. Even automotive has got some positive reports about a new giga factory. Yeah, that's going to be hundreds or thousands of jobs and investment. So there's lots of really positive green shoots happening. Yeah. But then on the flip of that, you look at what's happening with all these people coming in and how they're trying to balance the books. For me, I just think that whole side of things is just a complete mess at the moment. An absolute mess.
I just don't think there's that there's nothing really positive. Not many people are positive at the moment, are they?
Certainly not about that. No, and luckily, but about manufacturing, I think there is some real positive, and some of those things are mentioned. And we'll say here, machine shops are still busy.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is going to be
yes.
the budget that happens in autumn, whether she, there's talk about her changing the way, dividends are paid in companies and increases in tax here and there. Just really trying to balance the books. I think of it's a bit like the more people you employ, if you've got the same amount of money, you've got to spread it amongst everybody else. So you've got to get more money in order to, to make it work. And they need more cash. And at the moment, I think, they talk about wealth creators leaving this country and stuff like that, and that's just catastrophic. It's just absolutely catastrophic.
I've heard about that a lot.
And people condoning it and saying, they don't pay enough tax. They do. They do. They the wealth creators are the people that will probably pay 90% of the tax in this country.
Pay more tax than our
lifetimes. They create
lifetimes.
jobs. They get people jobs. And if they're leaving, and I do hear people going, good riddance to him. Well, good luck with that, because who's going to pay the tax? It's going to be us. So yes,
that's what I mean. There's a lot of change, and that creates a lot of negativity. Whereas there are positive, as you said, the green shoots happening all over the place.
Manufacturing, but these are really stemmed by aerospace and defence. Really, with the increase in what we need to spend in GDP and stuff on defence. So,
you've been a busy boy.
Yes.
Beyond the wedding.
Yes, beyond the wedding. Yes, I drove down to Exeter last week.
You said that in such a...
Oh, it was such a long drive because I made a vital error, but it was my own fault. So I was in the office.
We went north.
I ended up in Scotland and went, oh my God. I was in the office doing tech corners before, so I took Elliot with me, which then I didn't realise on the way home I'd have to call back in the office to drop Elliot off. Yeah. So my drive home from Exeter was just shy of 6 hours, which... I know just how jealous you would have been that I got to sit in a car.
There's something called a train.
No.
And even you can fly to Bristol. You can, and it's pretty. Yeah.
I'll just wait till they've opened Doncaster. I'll just wait till they've opened Doncaster Airport again. I'll just keep flying. Yeah. Every time you ring me, I'm like, I'm just on a plane. Sorry.
Yeah.
But no, we went to visit Hell Performance. Now, what a company! It was. We went for Lang. And Hell Performance started by making braided brake hoses for motorcycles, and now they are a industry innovation leader in all things braking systems for not just motorbikes, for cars, and they've even started a new line of mountain bike brakes. So if you watch Superbike Moto, you can tell I watch it. You can tell I watch it all the time. 99% of the brakes used on the start grid will be Hell Performance.
Oh, really?
And all done by Simon, who just, honestly, I've never met anybody his head was just everywhere. You're talking to him and you know for a fact...
He's not present.
You're talking to him and he's answering you, but you know for a fact he's thinking about 12 other things at the same time. Yeah. But I didn't interview him. I interviewed one of his members of the staff called Andrew. And he was going through like the life of the business and stuff. Well, let's put it this way: they've just spent an obscene amount of money on Lando Norris's trailer. Is where he comes and sleeps and stuff. When they go to that. Yeah. And this thing was huge. It lifted up from here. It lifted up from there. There's a balcony at the top where you got barbecuing. In the bottom, there's a full workshop. In the middle's a bit 80s. Right. Mustache type of vibe.
So hang on, how does this fit in with brakes?
So they started making the brake hoses, and then they've just done more and more. They've just pushed boundaries on more and more, and they now sponsor. I can't remember how many it was, but they sponsor so many teams now that they go to every single race in this trailer.
Formula One,
the motorbike race.
Motorbike race.
And it was just unreal. And they now actually distribute to 89 countries from Exeter.
Yeah, it's a hell of a company.
Hey.
I didn't say, but it is. Every single thing is made there. Yeah. Everything. They've got
a load of star sliding.
They've got eight star sliding heads, which never stop. Yeah. They've actually they built the new place where all the offices and stuff are, and the stars are underneath the offices. so they can keep nipping down and checking them. Then they built a full building, and they've got 4 White House brother Speedios,
Of course,
5-axis Speedios, and they've now put the Lang Robotrex automation on them all. And he was saying, look, without the Robotrex, we couldn't keep up with supply and demand. Says they run constantly.
Everyone is just saying automation is it's the survival. DP Engineering were the same with the Muratex. You know, the gantry loading, they've got automation, they've got sliders, they've got the Matsura with the pallet systems, now the Muratex because the gantry loading. It's all about automating the processes. They can't get the staff, everyone's saying it the same. And so now on the Muratex especially, where they had different spindles but more people, they've got 6 spindles, 2 people running them.
Well, this is the thing as well, and they were talking about, now obviously automation is such a scary word to most people. People are so worried about doing it. But they got the first Robotrex in, right? There's no pneumatics to the table. The guy was there, I think, for a day and a half setting this thing up. He trained a guy who had never ran a robot, never ran automation, anything, in 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, he was running it. And he says that, and Andrew was talking to him, he says, look, we've got, and they called it a T2 apprentice, which he did actually try to ask him what that was, and it was like their term 2 or whatever.
Their levels.
And he was already running it.
But
they were already running it.
It's appealing. Robots, robotics, anything like that, that is appealing to a younger generation. And I think that's where that obviously we hear it, but yeah, it's fair to say it again. We don't want that kind of dirt when they have machine shops. We don't want that dirty idea of having, you know, it's a dirty machine shop. You're going to get, you know, it's appealing for a young person to go robotics, AI. Let's talk about automation. Keep it clean, keep systems running. You know, you do a higher skilled job, but whilst being able to not do the laborious work. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
We spoke about it years ago when we did Swarf and Chips, but it's happening nearly in every single business now.
Well, this brings me on to another point, which we'll discuss this later about social media. We spoke about it a bit earlier. But on Hell Performance, the day before, I was in the office doing tech corners with Brown and Holmes, and I was talking to Mark Hyde, who does their work holding solutions. I think it's MPS, his side of the business, and they've actually got now a new piece of equipment, automation. I'd never seen it before. And it goes in your tool carousel, and it literally looks like a tool holder, and at the bottom it's got 2 grippers on it, and it's run by the coolant or the air, whichever you want to do it. Just pull. So if you can have on your 3-axis table, you could have a plate with a load of blanks in,
pick them up,
and a plate on that side, and this thing will just change in the tool carousel and just move them, and it knows where it's put them.
How do you clamp and unclamp? I suppose it's just done through within the program. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, through the and I was like, it's
simple but genius.
It is.
That would make me think, because I was going to come back on the point you're making. I was having this conversation actually on Friday with someone. We were talking about the fact that there's still a lot of these companies that are bringing in quite basic machines, not just into this country, but everywhere, and still making quite basic machines. And you wonder what the shelf life of the simple 3-axis VMC is. Yeah. Because you sort of think the volumes of that are going to decrease, or are they? Is it going to be a case of things like you're talking about, which is going to enable these sort of more basic machines?
Sweat the asset, put automation on it, put a robotic arm on it. You know, I'll never forget, God, it was years ago now. I think it was when I worked for Doom Tomorrow. I went to a company and you could see it was about 5 machines in a circle and a robotic arm just going into VMCs, taking components off, putting it off somewhere, shipping it off somewhere. You know, it was a conveyor belt just going round, picking it up, robotic arm. So like every single time it went round this circle of VMCs, final part off, complete, gone. Yeah. And it was just looked like the future.
But we've all seen the Lang version as well, that Halbeck system, that big tube that comes down, clamps the little vise, spins it round, takes off, puts it in the tool carousel. Yeah. So there is cheaper versions and easy steps into automation. Yeah. If you don't want to turn around and have a cobot running lights out. Yeah. There is ways into automation.
It's all application specific.
It is, but this is what Hell was saying. Without that, they couldn't keep up with demand, and it was just how easy it was. And he was telling me at one point how they've got one brother machine, And he says, unless a tool breaks, it never stops, ever.
What model of Speedio is that?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I can't remember.
Is it the 5? Is it
the 5-axis?
5-axis. So it's like the M2 or 300.
Yes.
The one that
I can tell you. I can find out.
The one that turns as well as mills.
I think so. Yeah. But they were saying, because obviously the RoboTrex is 2 drawers. As soon as the drawer is empty of billets, when it's machining the last one, they pull the drawer out, reload it, put it back in, and it just carries on.
Yeah.
They don't even have to stop it. And while we were there, he was showing us just how easy it was. And he pulls this drawer out without the parts were all finished, and he just got his hand. He's like, tink, 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 tink.
So fast.
And he says, all we'll do now, we'll stick it on that 3-axis VMC we've got. We'll skim a cutter over it just to get rid of the what do you call it? The tab.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah.
He says before we were doing that on 2-3 machines. So it's so easy.
I do think sometimes the simplest ideas, you look at it at the like genius, keeping it simple. Things you go, God, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And it's really simple.
Well, and
you see it more and more.
They'd looked at all automation systems before they come back to RoboTrex. But I think another reason was they were already using Lang work holding. So it was easy to keep everything in uniform.
Why are they called Hell? What does that stand? Is that an...
Don't know. But he had the best number plate I have ever seen on his lorry, and it was 666 Hell.
Double L or one or a
just one L.
And
just
you got married in a church.
Yeah, that was his number plate, and I was like,
you say that was the best number plate.
And then he on his Porsche he'd got something. He got his initial. I think he got S1 Hell. Then on his Range Rover he got S2 Hell. Then his missus had got M3 Hell because she got a BMW M3.
What's his surname?
Oh, Simon Lowe, I think.
So it's not. There's no H.
No.
So that must.
No,
be...
but his dad started the business making fuel lines for tractors, because you turn up to this place and it is a farm, or what you could see it was a farm. It's not anymore. And then when Simon took over, he didn't really care for that as much as I've heard, and went into motorbikes. And honestly, you see some of the parts they were making though, and they just something this big, and you look and you just think that is unreal. Like at one point, Andrew took me for a walk round while Chris and Elliot were doing B-roll, and I think for the whole way around, my jaw I was carrying my jaw.
It sounds like it.
It was just,
like
but the thing was with
what?
A hell of it. And I keep I
keep doing it.
Great. It is a real.
But it was really funny because obviously we all have that speech when we go into a machine shop. I know I've got one. I bet you guys have got one as well. Like, hi, I'm Tom, and then you start talking to me. Oh yeah, I used to be a machinist. Blah blah blah. So you sort of know how to talk to him. And he went, and I was talking to him. And he went, oh yeah. By the way, I followed you since day one. I was like, thanks. I've just done that entire speech.
Yeah.
But then obviously he took me in, and then he's showing me all the ins and outs and exactly how he's programming it. And I was just, we were there, and I just didn't want to leave. I really didn't want to leave because
you get paid to do this job.
With a 6-hour
job. You just this job. And he gets paid to do that. And look at him.
I didn't want to leave. So I've even got on my notes that it was one of the best visits I've ever, because of the incredible setups, but their manufacturing journey as well. It was, they were sort of like the guys you were talking about, where he knows where he wants to be, and he's constantly bringing new parts to market, and he's just.
Tom, we're really lucky. We are so lucky to get behind and understand.
But did you not see the photo I put in as well? I don't know what sort of video he expected me to do when I turned up, because they got a board and they are really good at marketing themselves. They're really good at social media stuff. And I walked in, there's a whiteboard, and it says, video 1 ideas, Tom, sexy machinist, Magic Mike dance. And I'm thinking, and I went, what do you think I'm here to do? And he's like, oh, no, not you, this other Tom. I'm like, still, I want to know some backstory on this.
I've never had that request.
I still want to know the backstory of this. Who's Tom, and who's doing a Magic Mike style CNC machine dance? Because I want to see it. And he was like, oh, it was, and then they got one last point. Sorry, Paul. They had a shop dog. Every machine shop should have a shop dog. And he was called Brian. What a cool name, Brian.
That is cool.
And he was following us right. And even in some of the B-roll, when we were walking, Brian's following us.
Oh.
But Chris was setting up his camera, and he came and just sat at the side of Chris and was just watching him set his camera up. It was literally like Chris had got his own little foreman watching him make it. And then he's like sniffing around, and I'm like, You're not going to dodging that bag, have you, Chris? Because
He'll be taking it. Chris will be getting upset. They'd be moving the parts.
This dog though. He was so cute. He was so loving. He just wanted to be with you all the time. Like even when we were doing the interview, he kept coming and trying to sit. So in the end, we had to one of the guys had to keep away, but
just shut him out, put him outside.
No, every shop should have a shop dog.
Paul, what have you been up to? That was me telling you off as well.
Other than swimming, falling in a lake or getting pushed in a lake.
Yeah, but I tell you what,
winning a race down on abseil.
Yeah, all right. I tell you what though, say that was half your birthday. You don't look bad for 21.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. I'll take that. So you could have one of those castles we were talking about earlier in 10 years.
I just want a house with a moat round it.
MTD Towers.
Exactly, MTD Towers.
I went to talking about historic. I went to a historic town, Ypres, in Belgium, and we were there to go to a company called Pinacol, and they make weaving machines, and these weaving machines
Buy me a job.
Yeah.
Yes,
these weaving machines are. Yeah, they weave things like they make your jeans and your clothes and stuff like that. But the town has obviously got so much history with what happened in the First World War. And you go down this place and it is absolutely beautiful, but it's where I think 1 million people died in World War. It's where two forces came together, basically. But they still play the last post there every night at 8 o'clock. So they shut the roads. The police come along and they still do it, and that's now been, that will almost be, well, I suppose it'll be a century now, won't it? They've been doing that without fail every night. Yeah, I mean, when you look at some of the things that are going on in the world at the moment and how people kind of seem to have forgotten the chaos of all these wars and what they do to communities, societies, countries, families, this is a real
awakening,
yeah, good word, to see what people still in recognition of what people did so that we can be sitting here now. But that company, I mean, the area was basically all to do with linen and stuff back centuries ago, and so that's where these weaving machines, or where Pinacol was founded. But it's when you go into these places and you think weaving machine, you see it all and you think, wow, of course, clothes have to be made. They've got to be made on machinery. They've got 400,000 of these machines installed around the world. 400,000 they're making. We walked around this production line and he was saying they're making something like 15 of these things a day. It's going through this assembly line. And you're just looking at them going, my goodness, this is some business. But of course, nowadays, the majority of their custom is in the Far East because that's where volume comes from.
It's nice to share it out.
Yeah, however, they do have a lot being made around Europe as well.
Yeah.
But I suppose the engineering side that we went to see was this amazing cell that they'd created in conjunction with Aubameyang to basically the frames of this weaving machine they needed to make in 70 seconds in order to be competitive. And this is just a piece of extruded aluminium, and it's got holes and tapped threads and little sort of sections cut out. So it's quite simple machining, but they had to do it all in 70 seconds. You've got robots coming in, loading, trunnions turning. And Aubameyang basically built this machine, took one of their original machines, increased the acceleration, put two heads on it. So you've got two heads, so they work simultaneously, machining two, so you've got two at a time. There's lots of little things that they did working in conjunction with Pinacol to create this cell that has got robots loading, picking off, sawing.
No human touches inside
no,
it, do
no, absolutely. It's literally
all automated.
Yeah, all automated. But then you look at how many machines they're making, 15 a day, and they've all got probably dozens of these frames on. You think, gosh, they need to be. But the visit itself, I suppose, was twofold really, to go look at the area and then looking at the connection of that to the business, and then the business itself, what it's making and what it does. And then we was in fact only the second time I've been on the Eurostar, which is, I don't know whether have you been on that on the Eurostar? Have you? Yeah. It's actually all right, isn't it? I mean, it's not like a normal train. It's quite spacious, but still, when you've got lots of cameras and lots of bags and you're lugging stuff around, it can be,
I just remember there was a really long queue just to get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee.
You get to St Pancras station, and I said to Elliot, he seems to be getting on a lot of these trips at the moment, isn't he? Which he enjoyed. I said to him, look, we'll get there early so we can at least go and sit down and just relax and have a drink and not stress. it says an hour before, but like an airport, let's get there 2 before. You can't even get in. They
No, you
won't. They won't even let you in.
No, they
and so
won't.
we're sitting in St Pancras waiting, and then of course we get in, and there's like one bar, one bar in there. Not that you need more than that, but there's not a lot of choice. It's not like you can have a wander around the shops or, go do whatever. And it's like, my God, there's not a lot to do in here. But then you get on the train. We were there in like an hour and 15 minutes.
Crazy.
And then coming back again, same, hour and 20 minutes back in St Pancras and home. So the journey is much easier. And flying sometimes to these places in Europe is a bit of a challenge. Whereas it's easier to go on a train. But it was a really good trip. Yeah, really. In fact, the videos have just been approved and they'll be coming out. And to see this solution in action was something else.
It's cool. It's cool. We've all been quite busy actually.
Very.
So have you, Tom?
Well, I've got to tell you one of the places I've been a few weeks ago. We've all been to open houses. We've seen machine demos. We've seen they're normally in conjunctive with tooling suppliers showing end mills, but this was slightly different. And I've never been to an event like this, and I'm not sure any of us will have been. This was the MSC versus Industry event. Now the video's about to be released, but normally we see people put in machines to test MLs. Well, these were put in their new edge range of MLs to test against competitors in front of you. So you could see how good the cut was, if it broke. They were even asking for speeds and feeds and depth of cut, all that sort of stuff, off the customers who were visiting to showcase what this tool could do. And don't get me wrong, it's a really good tool. There's definitely a place for it in the market. There's another video idea floating around. What tool is it? It's the Edge. Yeah, the Edge range. What is it? So it's a range of tools. At the moment, they've got end mills from 6 to 16, ball noses, and they're constantly adding to the range. So there's going to be indexables and drills and stuff. But it was really great because they got the machine running behind you. And then on the big screen in front of you, you could see what was happening. So obviously everybody didn't have to crowd the machine. But yeah, they were running it through all different types of materials, all different speeds and feeds.
What's unique about it? Why is it doing better? Why are they so confident?
So the thing is, it's not doing better. It was an end mill that is being made for its place. It's not absolute high end, but it's not bottom neither. It's a really good all-rounder. So normally you would have one end mill for roughing out, and then you'd have another end mill for finishing. This can do both. And
isn't that quite common now, though?
It is getting there, but obviously for an end mill that will do that, you've got to pay for an end mill to do that. Well, this one has quite a competitive price point. So yeah, and it was a really good day.
I don't think that's a bad idea because if you're sitting there in your stats in your catalogue going, well, it does this and it does this better than so and so, they're just proving it out. Tricky for us to film, admittedly,
which is what it was.
Yes,
which is what it was.
For them to be able to do that and go, guys, this works better than so and so. Look at the big supermarket brands. They compare direct like for like. Do it. Like,
how many times have you been to Tesco's now and it says Aldi price match?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So it was a really good event. It was something different. Everybody who was there, they got customers who were already using the range. They got customers who were on the fence. They got customers who'd never even heard of it. But the other thing as well, and I interviewed an apprentice, which was really good. And I don't mean an MSc apprentice. There was a company up the road who weren't using the Edge range, but they'd sent their apprentice along to find out about it. Well, he came back and he absolutely loved the day because he was like, well, I've learned how to program. I've learned what toolpaths I can use. He'd learned so much in that one day on things he was going to then go and take back and use on his own shop floor. So it wasn't even just the tooling demonstrations. It was how it had been programmed, what you could do with it. So they were helical drilling with it. It's like, you can do that with an end mill? Yeah, but he didn't know that.
No.
So then he was going to go back and do that. And as good as it was to see the end mill in action, it was everything around that as well. Because they showed you all the programming. They showed you everything.
Yeah, education.
And the guy who had programmed it was there. You could go and talk to him. And people were.
That comparison thing is good. But I mean, you mentioned Tesco's and Aldi. That doesn't, you know, at Tesco's now, it's like Marks and Waitrose. It's like
They have banter as well, though, don't they?
Oh, you've got to love it.
The Aldi banter of all their adverts and everything
what
like
was
that.
it, free Cuthbert or whatever?
Yeah, they take the mick.
Oh, it's great.
I tell you what, the person who is the marketing person for Aldi, or team, shall we say, are just
the genius.
spot on.
They are genius.
Just talking about education as well. You cannot beat an event in person. Emo.
No.
It's not far away. It's around the corner now. There's a lot of changes, and I know you're going to mention a couple of them, Tom, because you said on the way here that you wanted to mention them. But it's literally September. It's creeping up. It's getting closer. Emo, Mac, there isn't... Companies out there are developing all the time, and there is nothing better than going to an event, talking to the right people, sharing the similar problems that you've got. We love events, and it's not far away, you know, and it's also getting everybody there. That's what I think is so important. It's visiting. Everybody is there under those 17 roofs or however many halls it is, but everybody is there that you need to talk to. So why would you not go to an event like that?
The thing is, what you can do at an event as well, you can do more in one day than what you could do in a week. Because if, let's say I wanted to buy a new machine, I have to book Monday to go to A, Tuesday to go to B, Wednesday to go to C. Because there is a place for every machine shop, but they're not close. Nobody's next to each other. So they're maybe 100 to 200 miles apart. You got to drive. An event, it might be next door, it might be across the road. It's so easy. If you're looking for your next purchase and you want to compare different brands, different machines, different tooling, different work holding, whatever you're looking for, everything's there.
Even if it's not a purchase, it's a little bit of education.
Exactly.
As well.
And the thing is as well, you've got, and it's it is the biggest reason, and I've said this multiple times, that events are my favourite thing we do. And because you get every bit of technical expertise on that stand on that day. You might nip to look at a new machine, and when you get there, the technical guy, he's off today, or he's on a call out, or whatever. At Market, Emo, A&B, the stand is full of just technical expertise to answer any single question you have.
I think we've just sold Emo.
Yeah, the only challenge with it, of course, is the accommodation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With one like Emo, but Emo is actually I believe this is the last Emo in Hanover.
Is it?
Yeah. So I think going forward, it's in a new location. I know it does the split with Italy, but in terms of its Germany presence, but it's a nightmare to get accommodation.
Have you booked us accommodation?
We have accommodation. So
I don't even want to tell
an apartment.
Anyone how bad the accommodation was.
No. In fact, no. We've got accommodation, but it's hard to get, and that just kind of takes a little bit of the shine off of it in my mind. I think the Emo is a really good show. Looking forward to being there. The social aspect is great. It's great to see everyone together. It's almost like the kickstart to the last quarter, which is really important for industry, for every country. I mean, certainly European businesses, we're getting to a point now where Italy, Spain, Germany, perhaps not Germany so much, but certainly the more southern European countries are almost like, right, doors are shut, whole of August.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever orders we've got up till now will start again in September. So it's a really important time of the year as well. But then you think, my God, how fast has the year? You start to look back and go, my God,
where's it gone?
Where's the 6 or 7 months of this year just gone by already? I mean, I know you've got married, Tom, and
you got a tan. You've been sunbathing.
I got a tan. Yeah, I got
Is
a tan.
there ever a time where he's not tan?
Yeah, it's true.
I think he sleeps in a bedroom with a tanning ball.
I just because
it's not the 80s.
It's this thing about when the sun comes out. In my mind, it's like, because not this year actually. We've had a reasonably good summer so far.
We have.
But normally, days and weeks like we've had, you get one or two, and then you're done, aren't you, for the year? So when it does come out, I mean, I'm going to Portugal next week and can't wait because I just know that the sun's going to shine every day. Whereas here you don't get that. So when it does come out, you want to get
take the opportunity when you've got
take
it.
the opportunity to get in it.
Just a quick one, and we'll probably round this off soon. But Midlands 3D, I went there this week. They had an event at their facility. Summer's out. Amazing. It makes such a huge difference. He basically put a big, oh my goodness, what it is, a marquee outside of the facility, got some cars there because he makes some of the vents on the fronts of the cars. He was essentially a hobbyist to start off with. He doesn't like to tell that story because he was more than a hobbyist. However, it started, at that level, and then he grew in the world of 3D printing, grew and grew and grew. He and his wife, so it's Paul Maloney and Debs, or Deborah Maloney, son and daughter in the business now, grown this business. The big pivotal point where he went from basically saying, right, where are we going to take this business to the next level, was the HP multi-jet fusion machines for 3D printing. Because basically what it's done is it's turned 3D printing, like you would know, our 3D printing expert, from FFC fusion, FDM, there we go, FDM, into MJF, big build production. It's taken the business to another
What volumes
level.
are they getting in the build?
Oh goodness, don't ask me that, because
But a
I
lot,
went to
'cause they've got
HP actually, yeah. So I can't.
They've got the build.
Oh, you can.
When are those HP? I've been waiting to watch these HP videos come out, and I haven't. They must be close, are they?
They're very close. There's
Yeah.
just a couple of discrepancies just from what was said a couple of times, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
But they've signed it off basically, but there's just a little question on one little bit of it.
Yeah.
But they're amazing, those videos as well.
Yeah.
But the build, I think they're getting bigger and bigger. But in terms of the amount of components, I mean, depending on the size of the component, you can, in each build, you can just do like 500. You could do 20 totally different components on those multi-jet fusion builds. So when you see a picture of a build, it just looks so confusing because there's different shapes. It doesn't matter as long as it fits in that build. It could be 1,000 depending on what you're making, but in terms of the size. But it is taking 3D printing, what was known as for one-offs prototyping, onto another level. And it was that, I think the payback, they bought their first one. You're talking, could be like £500,000 for this, onto the second, onto the third, within a very, very small period of time. And now they're in a different building. They've got vents on the top for 3 more. They are slowly getting there, but that was the pivotal moment where this business
What
went,
is the work?
we're doing this seriously. Anything now.
Yeah.
And
but what would you have seen? What was going through?
What
were they doing? What was the purpose of the event?
the
Just
whole
to show
event
off
was,
what they were doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically saying we're serious about 3D
Okay,
printing.
yeah.
That's what they were doing.
That's a good thing to. It's a good thing. It's unusual you get, because if you liken that company, and I might be wrong, you might be tell me I'm wrong here, but if you liken that to maybe some of the ones Tom talks about HEL, or you know any other of these engineering companies we go in, how often do they have an event where they open their doors and say, "Come on in, look at my capacity.
Never seen it. Yeah,
look at what I make."
Yes.
It's quite rare, isn't it?
And it was busy. It was very family as well, which they should be proud of. So they had the parents there, the children were there as well, who are working in the business now. Megan's unreal. She had an Etsy business, started 3D printing, and now has gone into this. But loads of people, customers going there, new prospective customers, and then basically saying, look what we can do. But it was a way of people learning about their capability as well, showing off what they do. And they did it properly. They had a pizza guy there. They had all the drinks and everyone there, tours going round with the family. It was like that touch point to say, we're here and we can help you. And people were going, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. And that is where it all begins. Going back to your question, what do they make? Any sector, automotive, defence, aerospace, they can make components for any sector now.
Does it compete with Tom Scabula 3D printing techniques,
He's sitting there, so I don't know
organisation,
what to say.
LTD, MTD?
But they have
Can
all
they
of
make
those.
Mike the mic? Just saying.
There you go. But they have farms of machines. Like literally, they call it a printing
I've got
farm.
3.
But yes, exactly. But upstairs, that's for the FDM, fusion deposition.
Material.
Yeah, material. That's what it is. Sorry. But then they've got the 3 MJFs down on the right hand side. And they've got 2 of the other. They kind of go in stations, but those are where they're taking it. Like they've just gone up to another level.
It's fascinating,
Unbelievable,
isn't it, to hear and to see that investment in them. And I know Matsuura are doing really well with the HP machines, and quite rightly so with what they're capable of. Still quite underutilized in this country in companies and certainly in machine shops where it can be combined as part of their business. Why wouldn't you be able to offer that?
Yeah, it's the infrastructure that goes behind it all as well, and I think that's where they've really lent on Matsuura, because they built their own facility as well, so they've lent on them to go, what do I need here? What's my process? It's not just sticking a machine in. What do I need for ventilation? What do I need for process stability of getting this component from start to finish? And they think about everything, and that's why going into a new facility like that, they're being able to be clever. Joe Bellis, basically. John Porter,
Joe Bellis.
But they've helped them. They've lent on them for that, and it was just fascinating to see and how they speak so differently of their components, and the fact that you can just another thing I haven't even mentioned, they're automating the process now, sweating the asset. So there's an automation system. So you know how the builds, I think, from your question, it's something like 500 something build size. Yes. But they've now got it where at night there's an automated system. They change the build unit over. So at night, if it stops at 2 o'clock in the morning, we watched a build unit change over. It kind of just pulls the next one, pops it out the way, the trolley. Next one goes in next morning. So instead of just running 500, wake up, you've got 500 components in a build. Yeah. They've got 1,000. Yeah. So they're sweating the asset. So by having the 3 machines, they've almost got like another extra machine on top of it.
It's like an extra pallet system, isn't it, on a machine?
And I will make you one of them skulls.
It was cool, wasn't it?
It was. I did see that and I thought, I could make that. I'm going to make one.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, and I was going to mention about Mills CNC training as well, which you were talking earlier about the training, Tom, and how youngsters and whatever you're trying to pick things up and automation and all the rest of it. I went there a few weeks ago and I was really surprised because I used to work there going back 15 odd years ago. And they take on another more than one unit, in fact, since then. But they've got this kind of unit which is dedicated in an area to the CNC Training Academy, and yeah, everybody thinks, we need training and where can we go? And there's lots of places that you can potentially go to. But the Training Academy doesn't just have to be like the DN Solutions machines or the old Doosan's. In fact, it just means whether it's Fanuc, Heidenhain or Siemens, they can train you from, very basic level up to your mill-turn machine. So regardless of what machine you've got. But there, it was fascinating to see there was people there paying for their own course. So there was guys, that might be in their 20s or 30s. Their companies might do something slightly different. One was in fabrication, didn't have any machining, but this guy was like, I want to get into machining. They wouldn't invest in him to go and learn about machining. So he paid for his own course to learn. Wow. So he can now go and get himself. I mean, that's brilliant. I love
amazing.
That. But they do maintenance training as well, where how often do people have to phone up engineers, get maintenance guys in to do very basic things on machines that might have gone wrong or need changing, oils, filters, blah, 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 blah. They do maintenance training where you can send people on a maintenance training course, which I've not seen before, to the degree that Mills Training Academy does it, where you can literally go and learn those skills about all types of machines. So essentially,
and it's all types of machines.
It would be, yeah, because most of these parts are common parts, aren't they? There's different ways of checking them, and a lot are driven by diagnostics on control systems and stuff like that. But it would essentially mean that you don't need to ring up engineers. It could cost you £500 a day, £1,000 a day to come out and do the most basic of jobs. So for me, I turned up there and I saw this. There's so much investment in that training academy, but really interesting to see young people coming through, investing in themselves, which is really important.
Well, this actually brings me on to one last point. I know we're getting there, but this brings me on to one last point. We spoke about this a little bit. Do you think social media has got a role in that? So you know how you're saying young people are now paying for their own training? Could social media have a role in that? That they've seen what people are making and gone, actually, I I really like that. I want to go at that. How do I learn it? Now, obviously, normally you go on an apprenticeship, or you go to a factory and learn by doing, which is what I did. But now with MTDCNC, they can go and learn that from what they've seen, and then go and find a job already trained.
Yeah, that they would see that. It's an interesting point, because one of the questions I was asking Karen is, I don't want to go back in a classroom. You know what I mean? If I was 20 or 30 and this is a classroom setup, 12 stations and stuff like that, like, Karen, I don't want to go in a classroom. You know, I'd rather, I can just sit at home and learn this on my computer now. Why do I come here? And she's like, well, actually, we've tailored our classroom environment now around. There's no sort of where everybody has to muck in and you answer this, because there's nothing worse, is there? You know, you go to school and it's like,
somebody picks on you and you don't want to do it.
If you get it,
you get it wrong, and everyone's like,
absolutely hate that. Yeah. And so their classroom environment actually takes that into account, and they have done a lot of research and a lot of reviews of the people that have been to their courses afterwards to tailor the courses to make people feel more comfortable in their environment than sitting at home learning it. And also you can learn at different paces and different stages. But it's an interesting point, because you can go on social media and groups and say, how do I program a certain control? How do I program this?
Yeah.
Well,
you're not getting it from an authoritative force potentially, and your certification might not be what you need in order to go and get a new job.
Well, this is what I was looking at this last night, actually not last night, the night before, so I made sure I got my notes to Lyndsey earlier. And that I was asking in some of the groups. I was asking because I was TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. A lot of people now are using that as a new apprenticeship, because, like you said, people don't want to go back in a classroom. People who didn't like school, well, why would I go back to a school setting? But yet you can't really get a job without some sort of knowledge. So there's a lot of people now joining groups on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and learning off people already doing it.
But you don't get the certification.
But not many people ask for it. So if we're talking about qualifications, I have none. I have no qualifications. I've not done.
It shows.
Wow. I've not done an apprenticeship. I've not done any classroom-based stuff.
But you learn.
I learned by doing on the shop floor.
Yeah.
And I was also one of them people that people dislike, where I didn't start on a manual machine.
It shows.
You're going to keep going down this road, are you? I didn't start on a manual machine. My first ever machine I ever run was an XYZ mini mill with a tool changer and everything, and then worked my way up to where I got to. So the problem is, I think sometimes we look too much into qualifications, because anybody can do an online exam and pass it. But yet, and I've got this from a few friends who have their own business, who will have a guy come in for an interview, and you must have had this. Don't you dare say me, but you must have had this, where you will read a CV and they can do everything on the planet, but then you get them in and they can't do anything.
No, I never had one like that.
But it is what it is. So there's a lot, and what we were saying now is younger machinists, let's call them creators, are showing CNC machining in a different light. They're showing it as this
shared information
platform. But they're showing it as this cool industry to be in. Look what I've made. I've made this, that's made that, that does this.
Yeah.
Your car has got this. Yeah, but I made that. And they're showcasing it different to what it's been perceived as. And so so this is my question. Sorry, that was a little rant. But this is my question to you two is, should more manufacturers embrace younger people being able to showcase what work they're doing? Obviously, don't show finished parts, NDAs, that sort of thing. But embrace social media to bring in the next generation. Because look at control systems now, the Herco one, the Siemens control on the MG Morris, the new Heidenhain. They're making them look more and more like a tablet.
Yes, they are.
Because what they're saying is, if a young person can use a tablet, well, then they can program our machine, which is right.
Yeah. So
shouldn't we embrace that more?
I think yes.
There's a time and place.
It's 100% yes. But it is where the information comes from. Is it credible? I think that is one of the biggest dangers with social media. I think one of the plus points and the reason it might be, you talk about qualifications and employing people with them or without them. I think in our industry, there's a supply and demand issue. So I think you're faced with the inevitable possibility that actually maybe you can't find someone that's got a certification, but you've spoken to them and they say, yeah, I can program G codes. I can.
Well, this is the thing. I haven't got.
Wouldn't you?
Do the likes of like Rolls-Royce though? Surely they as a company when they're looking, they'll ask for a certification.
The thing is,
am I wrong? I don't.
There'll be some kind of program.
Yeah, there'll be something that they need. So that's where they would need to go for.
But then they could also ask for experience on that. So the thing is, I have.
Would they? You'd get away with that.
Well, the thing is, I have no experience at all. But yeah, I've done many jobs for Rolls-Royce. I've worked for Boeing. I've done aerospace. I've done oil and gas.
I've done automotive. It's the company that's got
that day you came and filmed me. I was making jigs to make you a new shoulder or a new elbow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't got any qualifications. But if you have a new elbow, the jigs I made will be used to make that new elbow for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is a
experience.
I wonder why my elbow.
I wonder why it goes the wrong way. Sorry about that.
It's harder now when you go, like I've just gone through the experience of both my children, both my daughters, doing their GCSEs. The second one's just finished. And I mean, you know, the effort that they put into their exams compared to certainly what I didn't do anything.
I didn't turn up for half of mine.
I did. I had like post it in the notes, everything.
They would literally camp, both of them. My first daughter 2 or 3 years ago, and my second one just now, camped out at the dining room table literally for about 3 months on the build up to the exams, night and day. You know, working from 6 in the morning till 11 at night, and it's all like memory muscle and getting it in there so you can remember the answers to these things. But they are. Maybe her and or them and their friends, they're like, if we don't get these qualifications, it's going to be really difficult for us to get to the next stage of our careers, which I don't think, when I did my apprenticeship, I think I needed 4 C's. No, I did 4 C's and I got 4 C's.
Yeah. 4 candles.
4 yeah. So that's what I made. But I got 4 C's, and that enabled me to go and get what was a Rolls-Royce apprenticeship.
Yeah,
which was, and they were taking on 25.
But everybody has strengths in different areas, don't they?
Some people don't work well in a classroom, and some people don't work well. Like your daughter doing that, I'd have lasted 20 minutes. Yeah. If I'm at a table and I'm doing something, I'll last about 20 minutes. Before
eating, you take longer.
Wow. God, we're down that road again, aren't we?
And drinking at your wedding.
Drinking. But yeah, if you give me something to make, even if it's on a laptop, if I'm having to create a marketing post or a social post, I can spend hours and hours and hours doing that. But if I'm just sat there and I'm having to read things and try and memorize it, I can't do it. I cannot do the classroom environment. And that's where things differ. So if you went for, say if me and you went for a Rolls-Royce apprenticeship, you've got your C's, but I haven't made anything. But yeah, I haven't got the qualification, but I've made everything. You would get it over me.
Got C's.
No, we got A stars, Paul.
I actually did get 1. I got an A in maths, but that was it. But you would get that apprenticeship over me. But yeah, I can prove I can do it before we get there. Yeah. So should we, as an industry, stop being so specific on qualifications and more working to people's strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, that should be. This is, and I would have said, and I did say to both of my daughters, and it was probably the wrong thing to. So I was saying, for me, this won't set the path for your future. What will be what you do next. But I suppose there's an argument to say, well, if they don't get those qualifications, they won't get the same opportunities. But in my mind, everything has always come from working hard, the people the right attitude, and opportunities will come along the way if you do those things.
So work hard enough.
If someone comes in here with a CV, like when you came in with your CV,
be careful what you say here.
All right.
But absolutely nothing. Machining hero. Absolutely nothing.
It was a really short CV, isn't it? Did you leave one of the bits of paper at home?
Yeah, it was in the car.
Did he walk in and have a top underneath and then rip his top open with the top underneath saying UK machining?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I left the bit at home where it had my patience on it. I just had.
But I wouldn't I'd take a CV, look at the name and and then I wouldn't probably even look at that until I'd sat with the person and then find out a bit more.
Oh yeah, I do remember that day as well.
But I think Tom, there is definitely a role for social media, has to be careful. You know, we all know the changes that are happening in social media.
And you
People
don't
rely
want
on-
negative because the lies, you know, the fake news and stuff. You can't have stuff. It's a tricky one.
Can I just tell you?
I do think, just one quick one, if you certify and you do have a course of some form, it's the reason they have to do that is because people have done it wrong. You know, you do these things because people have learnt lessons over the time, so it needs to be standardized to a degree to go, right, we've got that basic knowledge, then you're going to get the experience thereafter.
Yeah, bang on, absolutely bang on.
And there's operator and programming.
Exactly.
So, you know,
but you can always teach an operator how to program. And the thing is, and just one really quick one, I just had the...
you can always take a horse to water, but can you make it drink?
Exactly. But obviously we all come into a bit of a problem at the moment. Me and you spoke about this on the phone the other day about how the new generation hasn't got the skills of the older generation, and the old generation is disappearing. Now, I put a post on LinkedIn yesterday trying to cause a bit of controversy with this, and it worked, saying... There used to be, and you will have got this when you were way back when you're on the shop floor, that
it's only a few years
the older generation didn't want to teach the younger generation because that was their job security, which is not what it is now. Obviously, everyone works together. Well, I did the tech corners with Paris the other day, and they've got a new bit of their software, and I thought this was absolutely brilliant, where you can get your older generation, they were calling it the baby boomer generation, that was their term, not mine, to program Tebis with everything you need, so speeds and feeds, depth of cut, everything you need, and then the young generation come in and go, I'm doing that job, that, and the program will do it all for you from what they've already programmed.
So it doesn't matter which discerning age you are.
Exactly.
You
can still program, and this can be any part. Because it's got all the fundamentals from the guy who knows what he's doing, it's all there. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really good. I thought it was a really good idea.
On that note, we're going to have to close off this podcast.
We need to be back in here sooner, though.
Yeah.
Rather than later.
Because if not, the podcasts get really long when we do them.
And we've got too much to say.
Yeah, we have.
And
I've still got another page off.
And I've got my holiday.
Your
I'm literally off to Barcelona this weekend for my cousin's wedding, and then I come back, and then I've got my actual
How
holiday.
good is that place, Barcelona? When I went there literally 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month or so ago now. Absolutely loved it. I could get from my house.
Yeah.
I must have told this story a million times.
Yeah, I've heard this
from
story
my
before.
house at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon into the hotel in Barcelona at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then coming home on the beach at 5:30 in the evening, swimming in and out, back home in my bed at 11:30.
I found that with Prague. You're literally so close. Yeah, it's different, but it's just that convenient location, isn't it? But
I found the fact that I know there's lots of cities on the water,
but that's the good.
But that being in that city,
not Bournemouth.
No
comparison.
No comparison.
No, stop.
Sorry,
you've got no more. You've got no more.
You'll love this. I've got just what we were talking about
joke,
CVs and stuff. I just want to tell you one very, very tiny little story. And it was the first time I visited MTD and had my first ever interview with you. And it just made me laugh. It makes me laugh now. So when you go to your first interview, I'm full suit, tie, everything. Me and Elliot were driving to hell the other day. I even showed him the lay-by I got changed in because I came straight from the shop floor. And I come walking in here. Joe met me at the door and Paul was up here. Come walking in, I'm like full suited, shoes on, everything. Walked in. Paul's in a bright pink t-shirt, the shortest shorts I've ever seen, and flip-flops. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I think I'm slightly overdressed.
It was March, wasn't it? Yeah, it was March or April.
To be fair, it doesn't matter what month it would be, you'd be wearing the same thing.
I've just passed 3 years.
Really?
This month.
Oh, congratulations.
3 years.
Is he past his probation yet?
No, I've still got a 2 to go. 2 more years to go and I've passed probation.
Yeah. That's when you start getting paid, once you finish your probation.
Yeah. Right, okay, that's the end of it. So thank you guys, and thank you for our listeners. I hope you've enjoyed the MTD Uncut today, and we'll be back with you next month.